Hey there, I'm Jackie Ferris. From the eclectic to the collectible, we're at one of Wilmington's hottest retail spots, Zeppelin and the Unicorn, where there are so many treasures if you have the time. Get ready, the 302 is going to make you wish that you were here with me with your wallet. Hey there, we are at a designer's dream destination. I'm talking about the Zeppelin and the Unicorn. And I'm joined now by Jackie Donahue to tell us a little bit about everything that we see here. It's like you look somewhere new and you see something different. Jackie, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure.
So talk to us first of all. Folks are going to wonder about the name. Where did you get the name from?
Well, it's a little bit of a story, but I'll try to shorten it. My husband, when I met him, all he was into was Zeppelins. Not like Led Zeppelin, but airships. And everything was airships. And our first date, he literally made me sit and listen to the whole Hindenburg catastrophe.
Sounds like quite a date.
It was. Love the first radio show. And I've always been into unicorns. So we had art collaborations that we did, and we came up with the name. He's the Zeppelin, I'm the Unicorn, and when we got the antique store, we thought, oh, what the heck, why don't we just keep it? So
let's talk a little bit about this antique store. It's not just antiques, it's collectibles, and it just runs the gamut. So talk to me about what you have to offer here.
Okay, well, we have a little bit of something for everybody. We do have traditional antiques. We have some really actually old, ancient things so people that are into that can certainly come, but we wanted to do a little bit of something for everyone and try to bring in sort of new young people. So we have the records, we have toys, we have comic books, and then for the ladies we have lots of jewelry, we have clothing, vintage, all kinds of vintage clothing, folk art. Then we have sort of upcycled stuff that's made from old stuff, and so it's just something for everyone.
I know that, like I said at the beginning, this is a designer's or a decorator's, dream destination because there are so many pieces from so many different times and things that are eclectic. You had mentioned before we started taping a little bit about the creepy doll head lamps. Can you tell us about those?
Right. So, old dolls aren't as popular anymore. They used to be. And so I just started making these lamps at Halloween because I thought, well, let's take the eyes out, put a flashing light in it, or do something creepy with it. And they have been like the most popular thing. At Halloween, I just made 2 or so just for fun. And I seriously sold like 13 of them. And they asked me if we would make more, so I made more, so I have them, available.
And they're strategically placed throughout the store itself.
Yes, well,
And I've noticed that you have a lot of things like, I've seen a couple of sets of like Hardy Boys books and Beatles memorabilia, just kind of clocks, things like that. Talk to us a little bit about just, the eclectic nature and some of the things that someone might browse upon when they come to visit.
Well, we have close to 50 different dealers that have space in here. They rent space. And so they bring their sort of passion into the shop. And so each sort of area has sort of a specialty. So we have the mid-century. So if people are into that, it's just like it's very inviting. You want to go in there. Christian's area has a lot of very, industrial or sort of upcycle things, Jenny's records. So, like I said, everybody's brought in a little of themselves and their passion that have a space in here. So it's kind of a reflection of the way people are, like something a little bit different, everybody.
I thought the vintage clothing area was really amazing. You go to a vintage clothing shop and you don't anticipate, you never see as much as what you guys have there. You have purses, you have shoes, you have jewelry. So I mean, where do these people get these items from? Do they go to shows? I mean, where did all this stuff come from?
Well, they've been collecting it for years. They get it at estate sales, auctions, resale shops. Sometimes it comes to us. Sometimes it's left at our doorstep. Orphaned antiques, so we give them a home. So it comes from everywhere.
Now, do you have a favorite store or a favorite item in the store? Something that, every time you go by, besides the creepy doll lamps, that makes you go, that's really cool?
Well, this guy's spaced because it changes. He brings in stuff like a couple of times a week. And he always brings in, there's sort of, it's folk art or sort of quirky things that you don't normally see. And this is probably my favorite spot because I always find little, just odd things.
Sure.
And I like things that are a little odd.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And it is eclectic. The whole place is eclectic. I mean, you look at the box on top of the case there, it's got different news clips, postcards, things like that. If you're looking to find something from the past that's in amazing shape, this is the place to come.
Yeah. We sort of pride ourselves on making sure that it's clean. Some people like to dig through things, but we're more into the making it so that it's presented, staged in a nice way so people get ideas of how they might be able to use it or wear it. So it's all about trying to help people facilitate the experience.
Yeah, and it is an experience. The vibe in here is really, the energy is really cool. You feel relaxed. And you that's an intentional thing,
yes.
Right?
Yes, it is.
You wanted this to be a destination?
I did, and I didn't want it to be stuffy. We are very inviting we like children. I mean, before when you guys said don't touch anything, you absolutely want people to touch things. Obviously you want to be careful, but that's how you're gonna, know whether it's something you really want or does it feel good? Does it look right? And so, yeah.
So give us an overview. What are your hours and what should people do? How long, if I'm going to come visit you, if I see this on TV and I'm going to come visit you, how much time do you think I should spend in here?
Well, if you really want to get the full experience, I would allocate 2 hours. It's not something you can run in for 10 minutes unless you've already been here and you know exactly what you want. And that way you can at least take it in. Sometimes it's overwhelming. People have to go outside and get some fresh air. So yeah, I would say about 2 hours.
Okay, and your hours are?
So we're closed on Tuesdays, only day, and then Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday we are open from 12 to 5. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday we're open from 10 to 6.
So you guys are on Facebook and Instagram?
Yes, absolutely. And we have a website. And we also have an email address where we send invites to our events that we have periodically and sales and that kind of a thing.
Well, Jackie, thank you so much for spending time with us.
You're welcome.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about vinyl. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Debbie Buxton from Historic Odessa Foundation. Discover Delaware's best kept secret on the 302.
Welcome back. We have moved further into Zeppelin and the Unicorn, into jam music and memorabilia, and I'm joined now by Jenny Montgomery, who is the owner of this fantastic and interesting establishment. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
So let's talk a little bit about just the love of vinyl. People just go nuts. They want to hear it. It sounds so much different than, digital. Talk to me a little bit about just the flavor of vinyl.
Well, we specialize in vintage vinyl here, mostly from the 60s to the 80s. It has come back since 2006. This is the 16th consecutive year that vinyl record sales have grown. And in 2021, vinyl sales actually surpassed digital and CD sales for the first time. So it's really come back into vogue, and our demographic is hard to pin down. We sell to, I would say 70% of our customers are male, 30% female. Ages range from 20s to 60s. but I also have teenagers that come in and buy music that we grew up on. So it's a wide range.
Because I think people are really discovering just a love of vinyl, and it does sound a lot different. And it's something when you can buy music and hold it in your hands.
Yes. And a lot of albums came with posters and lyric sleeves, and it's just the artwork. I mean, oftentimes people will buy an album cover just to put in an album frame and hang on the wall.
Sure, and a lot of times I remember growing up looking for those Easter eggs, you know, when they would say in the acknowledgments, thank you to so-and-so and so-and-so, and sometimes there'd be something special and, you know, you could just marvel at it, you know, and enjoy it. But you have some albums that you want to share with us, starting with, I guess, the White Album. Tell us a little bit about the significance with that one.
The Beatles' White Album was significant because early on, it was all white cover here, and it's embossed here. It says the Beatles, and they were numbered here. There was over 3 million of them made. An important or an interesting fact: Ringo Starr owned the one that was numbered #1, and in 2015 sold it along with his drum kit for $2.2 million. So the White Albums that are numbered can be worth a little bit of money.
So for folks at home who are familiar with the Beatles, what songs are associated with the White Album?
Well, I'll read you a few of them. Back in the USSR, Dear Prudence, Glass Onion. Let's see, some other ones you might know. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Martha, My Dear, I'm So Tired, Rocky Raccoon. So there's a lot. It's a double album. There's two LPs in the White Album.
So let's talk a little bit about Michael Jackson. You have him as well?
Michael Jackson, this is the #1 highest selling album of all time. There was over 47 million copies of these sold, and it continues to be a good seller today.
I know a lot of people who have memorized the dance moves to Thriller, to the video.
Yes.
Definitely. You have one more that you want to show us?
So this is an album that the Mamas and the Papas, right? Great vocal group. When this album was first put out, there was the actual toilet showing here. And then they later covered it up. But if you ever come across the one with the toilet, it can be worth some money. However, they still are reproducing that album with the toilet, so you have to make sure you get the earlier version of it.
So you have a lot of albums that people can go through from all kinds of genres, but you also have amazing reproduction posters. I'm looking at some of them. Can you talk to us a little bit about the different kinds that you have?
They're a lot of fun. They're a nice frameable size, very colorful. Anything from, my gosh, Ozzy Osbourne, Jimmy Buffett, Rolling Stones. I try and get classic rock. That's mostly what we sell here. We do also have pop and jazz and R&B and some country, but mostly what we sell is classic rock.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, kind of a nod to the name of the establishment.
Big selling albums to this day, Led Zeppelin for sure.
Sure, and you have clothing as well, right?
We do. We have some t-shirts. Some of them are concert tees, and we also have denim jackets. I have a friend who has a professional embroidery machine, and she does different band names on the back. She designs some of them, and we have a lot of different sizes to choose from.
So when somebody comes to visit you, how should they plan their visit? Just, do you have events, or do you have listening days, or?
I don't have listening days. We do have sales occasionally. We are on Facebook and Instagram if you want to follow us, Jam Music and Memorabilia, to be notified of new arrivals, and sometimes we have store-wide sales.
Now, is there a favorite item in the store, one that you're going to be sad to part with?
Yeah, no, I'm willing to part. I mean, as a personal collection, my husband and I have thousands of albums in our own collection. So, you know, we keep what we want, and we sell the duplicates and things that we care to part with.
So this must have started when you were really young, just a love of vinyl?
Yes. My husband probably we probably both started in the 70s, serious vinyl collectors. We've been at this location since 2014.
So you loved records and vinyl so much that you decided to do this as a profession.
Yes, well, I'm retired from my first job, so now it's just doing something fun, something that we really enjoy.
Jenny, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jen Bose, the Executive Director of the Greater Wilmington Convention and Visitors Bureau, and things are happening on the 302.
Welcome back. We are now outside of Zeppelin and the Unicorn, and I'm joined by artist Christian Kannenberg to talk a little bit about one of the first things that you see whenever you come to the store, and it's this amazing back wall. Christian, first of all, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the creation of this wall. It's very eclectic and really cool.
So about a year ago, Jackie approached me and she had this idea of doing kind of an art wall that you would see when you came in. There was a lot of architectural salvage that was in surplus at the time. So instead of investing in a better looking privacy fence, we thought it would be cool to do something more art inspired and eclectic. Kind of resembles the inside of the shop and draws attention and gives that eclectic, more art house feel.
So how long did it take you to assemble these things?
This was about a 3-week-long project, not straight through, but off and on. Of course, I had to work around shop hours, but yeah, all in, and it was kind of like very much like a Zen-like process where I was letting each piece kind of guide where it wanted to go. So yeah, it was a fun project.
It's really interesting when you look at it. It reminds you of, well, it reminds me anyway, of like the Old West in some cases, because you have, for instance, you have an elaborate archway and then a shutter. So it's kind of like you're walking into a saloon, but you're not.
Right.
It's just really cool. So it's metal, it's glass, it's wood.
Yeah, I wanted to invoke a little bit of humor as well, because I think that you'll find that here, certain lightheartedness to this particular antique shop that you don't find in many others. So, for instance, just cut up bicycle parts just kind of sticking out as if they're just, just oddities here and there.
And it's connected to a shed. So if somebody sees this and says, oh, I would like to do this at my home, I would like something eclectic like that, there's a lot of salvage that people can
purchase.
Yeah, can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So the exact shutters and doors and architectural pieces that people didn't have a whole lot of interest in that I was describing were just kind of sitting there, and they needed the shed to get out of the weather. After this structure was built, people were having more interest in buying the actual doors and pieces of architectural salvage off of the actual fence. So that it's like when you can see what you can do, you're more motivated to replicate that at home or in a garden.
Now, your imprint extends beyond the fence. You also did the weather vane, is that right?
Yes, yeah. So my relationship started off in more of a, creator to fellow creator kind of experience with Jackie and Larry. And there's been kind of a by way of bartering for the space inside to do pieces to enhance the store, the fence, the hex sign and other things throughout.
It's really cool. And when you come back here and you're parking your car, there's a whole section here where people can see a lot of your work whenever they're browsing over the salvage on the other side. You've got this really great tree here. Talk to me, is that a tree? Am I interpreting that right?
Yeah, it's a tree. So I do a lot of metal work for my service business, and a lot of things that I do for the Philadelphia Flower Show, which is a temporary show, 1 week a year up in Philly, will find its way either into my yard or here for sale. And that actually, Jackie and Larry actually purchased that piece shortly after it was brought here. So it's in its forever home.
So you do a lot of metal work, but you also do other types of artwork. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, a huge part of my business is mural painting, which has had kind of a resurgence in the past couple of years. I think with the pandemic, people have kind of reevaluated the arts and how whether it's performance art or visual arts, are all of a sudden they're more important for mental health and just enjoyment in public spaces. So that's kind of catapulted off for me in my service business, which is Wish.
Do you have a favorite piece back in the space that you occupy in Zeppelin and the Unicorn?
Yeah, as a sculptor, is that kind of element to my persona. I've always gravitated towards rusty metal. So I do a lot of cutouts that are, affordable and accessible for people that want to shop for antiques. So there's some pieces in there that I could share.
What is it about rusty metal for you, you think?
Just character, and I think, the weathered appearance of something that you would find, whether it was a car part or a part off of a boat that perhaps started out as a shiny chrome, or it was partially painted and now it's, given way to rust. There's just a story behind that I find interesting.
Now, was that a railroad tie thing to put your, like a coat hook?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I actually have a friend who's a woodworker who I collaborate with on occasion, and he's done pieces. I think we kind of inspire each other, but that was a piece where he just had a bag of railroad spikes and some extra wood that was salvaged, and people are also really responding to handmade things. So a lot of craftspeople are finding their, their new platform.
So do you find that going from one medium to another is a fluid thing for you, or is it as you need it to be?
That's a great question. I know artists, other artists who are exceptional, but they only paint, and I could not operate that way. I think I'm too restless, and I have the ability to do a lot of different things, and I feel like I do them all really well, but I can't focus on exclusive mural painting time after time after time. So I couldn't necessarily fill my schedule up doing that.
So it's like one thing feeds the other.
One thing feeds the other.
Definitely.
Yeah,
keeps
absolutely.
it interesting.
Yeah, and not many people get to play around with making a living as a sculptor, so that's kind of a
Yeah,
blessing.
you are very fortunate, that's for sure. Now, if somebody wants to see more of your work, do they just need to come here? Do you have a website, or Instagram, something like that?
Yeah, website and Instagram would be the way to do it. Certainly coming here, we like to get in there and refresh the space as often as possible, but Instagram's probably the best way to keep tabs on me.
What's your handle on Instagram?
What is Wish? So it's what.is.wish.
Well, Christian, thank you so much. It was certainly a pleasure talking with you today.
Thank you. You as well.
We'll be right back. For more information, visit ZeppelinandUnicornAntiques.com. That'll do it for this week's episode of The 302. We're going to leave you with a really cool shot of a fountain that sits right outside of the store. Until next time, I'm Jackie Ferris. Tell them you saw it on The 302.